you want to see the ring?
Yes.
They do.
Let me show
I'd
you.
love to see the ring, honestly. Not
Show this to anybody.
Oh my
man.
God.
That
It's
is
so big.
baller.
I know, right?
It's
like
obnoxious. So your prep just must be ridiculous because you really don't know 100% where it can go in the game. So that's a lot of prep. Does that I would keep me up at night? I'd be like, what are they going to talk about during the Nets tomorrow? Like that's tough.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
A good producer is prepared for all kinds of things. You might have 10 storylines prepared. You might only get to use one, but guess what? Those 9 other things are going to be there the next time you play, or maybe it's a year down the road. Maybe it's 2 years, but there is a ton of prep work that goes into it, but you want to look like you have it, you have it ready to go. I'm trying to think of some good examples, but I don't know, the Raptors play, the best example is when the Raptors played the 76ers in the Eastern Conference semifinal in 2019. The parallels to 2001 were just so ripe. Game 7 against Philadelphia, so you knew almost every game you could have something. You could have, well, this is game 3. That was the day Iverson scored 54 points. And, game 2, this is when Vince Carter scored 50 points. As you go along game by game and year by year, you do have that working knowledge. You build up a video library. And when the moment comes, you're ready to strike and you're ready to provide something like that. And it enhances the storytelling for the announcers, and it gives the viewership at home a little bit extra, background and storytelling to what's going on.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up that Philly series, Dan, because I keep thinking about during that championship run, all these different iconic moments. You had Kawhi dunking on Giannis. You have his shot. The one I keep thinking about is Game 6. Fred comes off that pick and roll, sends Quinn Cook flying. It was 3 minutes left in the game, hits that big 3. And then a few seconds go by, and he's walking back to the bench, and he's screaming at everybody. And Fred's usually the low-key, quiet guy. I love what you did in that. Once it headed towards the break, you got the slow-mo shot of just the close-up of his face and him screaming at the crowd. I thought that shot kind of encapsulated that whole run in a way. So I just, how are you able to capture those kind of moments and touch in such a tense situation? Like the nerves and everything in that control room, I know, treat it like any other day, but what's your approach to handling those type of situations?
I mean, absolutely. And you do treat it like you have to go in there treating it like another day at work. But I was preparing for a moment like that in my mind. And I remember the moment exactly. I knew in my mind that was the moment the Raptors sealed the title. And I knew when I saw Van Vliet do that, I knew it was the iconic shot. And even more so than Kawhi hitting the 3 where you see him in the corner and his Gatorade blue tongue is sticking out. And Embiid is there with his hands on his head. It's like, oh my God, no. But the shot with Van Vliet, we actually didn't go to break. And I knew that we had used up all the committed commercial time.
Wow.
And I knew that in that moment, I didn't want to go to break. I wanted to stay there. That was the moment. You knew right then and there. It's like, okay, the destiny is obvious. The Raptors are going to win this championship. So I remember the shot happened. We didn't have Van Vliet's reaction live. You would almost never go to that camera in a live situation, but you're going to get to it. And not only that, but that camera was shooting super slow-mo.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's something that was added. We always added it in the playoffs. So you don't necessarily have super slow-mo all the time. I know we added it for the regular season in 19 and 20 before I was leaving. But up until then, it had been playoffs only. So here's Van Vliet hitting that shot. I know I'm not going to a commercial, and I want to milk the moment. I want to watch him live going off the court. How does he react with his teammates? How is the bench reacting to this shot that he's made? And now he's at the bench, and now the team has settled down a little bit. I have like 2 minutes of free time here. There's no game. There's no commercial. So I'm going to milk it dry. So I think we showed 3 different replays from 3 different angles. You know, you have maybe your slash camera. I know we showed it from one of the overheads and probably the tight camera. And then I know at the end, nice and slow. And now as the 4th replay in the sequence, let's bring in Fred's reaction. We all know he never shows emotion, but he does here. And that expression with the Band-Aid under his eye, that expression of emotion tells everything you need to know in that moment, how the team feels, how their audience feels. And in a way, it was a little bit of a sigh of relief, because you just know at that point they're going to win it. So that was, to me, in producing that was a very, very deliberate moment. And it had been years of practicing for it that led that production to that point and was able to make it look so good in that moment for the fans in Canada.
Would you have handled it the same way in Game 5 when Kyle had that corner 3 that Draymond tipped off? Like, if he had I guess it would have been the end of the game, so it would have been a little bit different, right? But I don't know. How do you think you would have handled that moment? Say he knocked that shot down to win it.
I mean, well, that's a little different, Mark. And to be perfectly honest, I don't have complete, I don't remember that one as well. But yes, if it was a situation where Lowry hits a shot at home and the Raptors win the championship, was it at the buzzer or?
Yeah, so it was that final possession, right? It was after Warriors were up by, I think the Warriors were up by 1.
Okay.
Kawhi and Fred are up top, swinging out, and it's Lowry in the corner at the last second, and I think Draymond came and closed it out. And I don't know if it looked like he got a piece of it because it went off the side of the backboard at the end of Game 5 there. So yeah.
Different, right?
Yeah.
So different.
I mean, it's at home. It's a last-second shot. If the Raptors win the NBA championship that way on a buzzer-beater shot, trailing on their home court, no, I'm not going to a replay. I'm showing the literally once in a generation bedlam that's going to happen in that building. You look, you saw it after the Kawhi shot against Philadelphia. I didn't go to a replay. The people were crying. People on both teams were crying. People in the audience were crying. Toronto has never seen a moment of that magnitude in sports. Joe Carter in 1993.
Good example.
Is the only thing. And when I think of Joe Carter's home run in 93, I don't think about the replay. I think about a baseball team and 50,000 Torontonians going nuts, right? So to answer your question, no. If Kyle hits a shot at the buzzer and the Raptors win Game 5 at home, I think it would have been handled from the production truck very differently.
The shot you just explained of Fred's face it encapsulates all those memories in one shot, right? So to have the presence of mind and that's why this is why you're an award-winning producer. Is like you just talked about one single shot for 3 minutes. Like that's incredible. When I'm filming stuff, I much prefer scripted retakes. You know what I mean? Like we do a lot of short film stuff. That's what I prefer, because I can't be like, if I miss the shot, I can't be like, yo, Fred, like, can you go do this again? Like, you can't do that. So I commend you for having such awareness when it comes to live sporting events. I couldn't do that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And there's different ways of doing it, right? And I don't know if you've had Jeff Landicho, who's the producer of Open Gym, on your podcast. He might be a great guest for you. He does Open Gym. And to me, shooting it, not having the immediacy of it going to air, being in an edit suite, pouring over every frame, that's what I can't do. To me, I'm inspired by the people who do that and can pour over it and worry about it and finally come up with how they want to do the shot just perfect without being encumbered by the timing of it. You literally can make that edit for days, and I would go nuts trying to think about should I have done that? I want to go back to the edit suite and make that change there. I like the immediacy of live, and I'm just trained and learned how to do it. So for me, they're just two different ways of putting together stories on television or film. And fortunately, you're good at that. I'm good at this. Works out.